The universe is sound. It's one big symphony, a big orchestra that has trillions of parts playing in tune. The unfortunate truth is that today, certain parts are disharmonious or out of harmony with the planet. Our oceans are polluted, our soil is less fertile, animals are becoming extinct, and the music we listen to manipulates our mental state. I'm going to predict that the future of humanity, technology, and health will be based around learning to utilize and manipulate sound to our benefit. We're going to become aware of how much sound impacts our daily lives. I believe that ancient civilizations had this awareness and they'd be able to do things that would blow our mind. The power of sound is way deeper than we realize. I've learned so much more about sound since I started to produce music, and it's blowing my mind. In this video, we'll get into what sound actually is, how today's music impacts us, using sound frequencies for healing and shifting our emotional state, and at the end, I'll touch on using sound to levitate, a theory on how the pyramids were built, and so much more, so make sure you watch until the end. Now, I'll just disclaim that science was never my strong suit. I'm learning more about it, but if there are any experts that are watching, feel free to comment. I'll explain this from my basic understanding and try to make it simple. Treat this as a basic intro into a vast topic. At the core, everything in the entire universe is made up of the same thing. From our bodies, to the house I'm in, to the water that I just drank. You could say that everything in the universe is only one thing, just atoms. Now, what causes differences between the water that I just drank and the house I'm in is how the atoms form together. Different combinations of protons, electrons, and neutrons create elements that form physical matter. Now, we're going to add a little quantum physics here. One term you'll hear a lot in this video is frequency. All atoms in the universe are not standing still. They are constantly moving, constantly vibrating. Frequency is the rate at which that vibration occurs, which then creates a wave. So the universe is really vibrating waves that operate at all different kind of frequencies. The frequency determines what the matter is. To our eye, it seems like everything is solid, but it is not. Everything is made up of fast-moving atoms. Now, light and sound are the exact same thing, but light just moves at a way faster frequency than sound does. Physical matter, like the house I'm in, operates at a way slower frequency than sound does, which operates lower than light does. Humans vibrate at somewhere around 10 hertz, give or take, while the sun operates at somewhere around 10 to the 18th hertz. Light is operating at such a high frequency, even higher than those little beeps that you might hear sometimes. And those little beeps are higher than other sounds that we'd normally hear. The electromagnetic spectrum shows how different frequencies can create different variations of those waves. Some of these we can perceive, like sunlight, but our eyes aren't equipped to see the waves that like X-rays would send out, for example. We can only see a portion of everything on here, which is known as the visible light spectrum, the rainbow of colors that we are all familiar with. Everything in the universe has a frequency and further corresponds to a musical note on the piano. Everything is connected at a deeper level. The bird you hear outside is chirping at a certain musical note, like an A, for example. The engine of a car is at a certain frequency. Even the sound of your clap, or the sound of your feet hitting the ground, is a musical note that you can find on a piano. Our brain sends out frequencies as well, and these are known as brain waves. I'll touch more on these when I get into sound healing and binaural beats. Emotions have a frequency. I've shown the emotional vibration chart multiple times in previous videos, so I'm not going to touch on that too much, but you can check out my last video on mastering energy for more. The brain is wired to like harmonic music. We like when certain musical notes play at the same time. It sounds beautiful. The brain can also pick up when a note is out of pitch or out of place. It just sounds bad. Our brains are wired for harmony and balance is found throughout all forms of music. Music has a profound impact on the brain. Just look at how many parts of the brain light up when we listen to music. I believe that sadly, much of the mainstream music of today is purposely manipulated to throw us off balance. For what reason? I'm not really sure. I do believe that certain artists are paid to rap about certain things or sing about certain things. Some realize the power that music can have over our mind. Topics involving negativity and disempowerment are common in today's music. Everything that we consume affects us without knowing it. Listening to negative music increases the chances of us thinking or acting negatively. A lot of the music we listen to lowers us down to a lesser version of ourselves. We are subconsciously impacted by the music that we listen to. Notice how you feel after a certain song. Do you feel drained? As I started to become aware of my energy and noticing what gives me energy and what depletes it, I realized that a lot of the music that I was listening to was draining me. Now, there is a theory that much of the music today is tuned to 440 hertz, and it's definitely true. The music production software that I use is automatically tuned to that frequency. Some say that 440 hertz increases anxiety, stress, aggressiveness, and negativity in the listener. The thinking is that it is not in harmony with our brains, our DNA, and the planet. This is what water looks like in 440 hertz compared to 432 hertz, which is the natural frequency of the planet. Some studies show that 432 hertz was more pleasing to listen to and caused more positive emotions than 440 hertz. One study found that listeners had a lower heart rate and a lower breathing rate while listening to 432 hertz. Words also have a frequency. Studies were done on how the structure of water molecules changes based on certain words. Positive words create a more beautiful and organized structure. Negative words create a more chaotic and messy structure. We are 70% water. How is negative and chaotic music affecting us? Now, don't get me wrong, not all music is bad. There are empowering artists out there. I still like rap, but I listen to those that have more motivational and uplifting lyrics. You can call them conscious rappers. And sometimes I'll just be driving in the car and I won't even be listening to any music because if I'm already emotionally drained, some music can just drain me even more. I've been discovering more of that 60s, 70s, and 80s music. That music was actually kind of fire. Want to feel good? Listen to the soul music from those eras. That'll get you feeling real good. The type of music you listen to says a lot about you and your internal state. Dr. Christian Gonzalez explains how music and emotions are related.
Do you find yourself listening to the same song over and over? There's a reason for that. So when you think about the body trying to heal itself, it's always going to attract the people, the places, the things, the situations, the circumstances, the songs, so it can heal. So if you're listening to sad music over and over and over, that's your body saying, please express me. If you're listening to music that's stimulating, that's really shaking you up, that makes you riled up, hot on the inside, that might be a part of you that's saying, I got a lot of anger inside of me, a lot of rage inside of me, and I want to release it. Notice what you're bringing into your field and what you're listening to over and over. It says a lot about you.
Observe what you are attracted to, and it can reveal a lot about your internal state and what you need to express. One of the growing trends today is listening to specific frequencies or binaural beats to induce a certain mental state, decrease anxiety or depression or stress, or even heal the body. I mentioned before that our brain sends out measurable frequencies called brain waves. The frequency our brain is operating in determines our mental state. This is a chart of the 5 frequency ranges. One important connection I want to make here is that our body and mind can start to heal when our brain is less active. We sleep in the delta state. The beta state is where anxiety and fear can exist. We usually operate in this state. You can see that the brain is very active. We are constantly in this state, our energy is being drained. Meditation allows us to slow down brain activity and enter the flow state, where our body and mind can start to be rejuvenated. We can access deeper states like the alpha or theta state more regularly, increasing our ability to relax, quiet our mind, be creative, improve our memory, and tap into our intuition. We can stop being so damn overstimulated all the time and actually gain control over our mind. Listening to binaural beats or solfeggio frequencies can do the same thing, alter our brainwave state and put us in a different state of consciousness. Your brain will attune to any frequency that you listen to, which is why music can be so impactful. When you listen to binaural beats, you're actually hearing two slightly different frequencies in each ear. One side will be 432 hertz and the other will be 424 hertz. The difference between those is 8 hertz, which falls into the alpha state range. Our brain will attune to that difference and then create a new frequency. Binaural beats are thought to balance both sides of the brain. If you want to get more into this, I highly recommend looking at the Monroe Institute or the Monroe Project, something like that. You can get way deeper into this stuff. Solfeggio frequencies are tones that align with the chakras of the body, which are thought to be the main energy centers according to Hindu philosophy. The theory is that certain frequencies correspond to a certain chakra, and when listened to, can help that chakra become more balanced. The chart shows how a certain solfeggio frequency aligns with a certain chakra, a certain musical note, and also a certain color. It's important to note that studies on sound healing have been inconclusive and need to be expanded to get clearer results. I see sound healing as an external way to alter our brainwave state. They could work while we listen to them, but they won't cause lasting change when we're not listening to them. Meditation is a way to alter our brainwave state from the internal and cause lasting change. I always had the feeling that levitation is possible. Little did I know, it is already being done. I stumbled across something called acoustic levitation that uses sound at very high frequencies, somewhere around 40,000 hertz, to levitate particles and suspend them in the air.
But the idea is that you use sound waves from a bunch of different speakers pointed in different directions, focused on a point, and you can levitate something at that point in midair. This is real, yo. Are you ready?
Fall.
Oh!
Oh my god, it's going. It's
my
going.
God. Oh yeah, it is.
Oh my god, it's so cool.
Houston, we have levitation. We just made this happen here. The main concept here is standing waves. Standing waves are not normal waves. They need very special conditions. A regular wave in physics is just a disturbance traveling through a medium. Like when you disturb a slinky at one end, the disturbance or wave travels to the other end. If I then constrain or bound the slinky at the other end, the wave will reflect back. You can test this out by being that weird person that yells at canyons. Your vocal disturbance reflects back. Now if I send wave after wave down the slinky, they continue to reflect back. And what I get is two waves, one moving at me, one moving away from me. But obviously the slinky can't be in both places at once, so the waves combine. They interfere. They add when they're on top of each other and they subtract when they're not. And something very special can happen when the two waves interfere at just the right conditions. You can get a wave that doesn't appear to be moving in any direction.
This one can still levitate particles because it creates a field that looks like a pair of fingers holding the particle.
Okay.
It doesn't create a standing wave, but it can still levitate a particle.
My thought on this is all you need is the correct transducer to convert sound into energy. The transducer in the video is the speakers that send out the frequency. They're specifically designed to increase levitation capacity. As the technology of the transducer improves, our ability to levitate things will improve as well. Maybe we'll discover a way to make a stronger transducer. There are also theories of advanced monks being able to levitate. They are experienced meditators and they are able to attune their brain to a specific frequency that levitates them off the ground. Kind of crazy to think about, but I believe it could be possible. So there are many theories on how the pyramids were built. How could an ancient civilization that we believe wasn't as developed as we are today move those huge blocks into place and create such a large structure? It's like one of the world's greatest mysteries. The theory I think is the most possible is that the builder had knowledge of frequencies and how to manipulate them, and they had the technology to move the giant stones using levitation through sound. I think we will begin to uncover ancient technologies and begin to tap into them. Maybe they're already being used, but they're definitely not available to the public. They say that military technology is what? Like 20 years ahead of the general public? 20 years is a lot, especially how things are evolving so quickly today. One thing I'll note is that ancient societies were more in tune with nature, and they probably had technology that was more aligned with nature, and they were able to use it. I don't really know if that is our society's intention, so we'll see how far we get. But this is definitely an area I'd like to look into more and perhaps experiment with in the future. Hopefully this video made you more aware of the power of sound. Maybe you'll be more aware of the music that you listen to. Maybe you'll learn how to alter your brainwave state. Maybe it'll spark you to experiment with frequency technology. Don't forget to give the video a like, comment with any feedback, and subscribe to support the channel. Peace.